Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Teaching and Learning with Dr. Shweta. Well, in my last video I discussed schemas. Schema is a topic that belongs to the discussion of Piaget's constructivist theory. And as I had discussed last time, Piaget's theory is one of the most famous theory for bringing about revolution in the education processes. So we discussed what schemas are, what assimilation and what accommodation is in our previous video, and today we'll be discussing what Piaget's constructivist theory actually suggests to us as teachers. Well, what we had discussed last time was that the child's mind is full of a lot of schemas. Some schemas are naturally present during birth, and as the child grows, as the child interacts with the environment, as the child receives a lot of different kinds of experiences from school, from family, from society, from neighborhood and all that, these schemas, they go on growing, and this growth of schemas happens through processes of assimilation and accommodation happening constantly. It's a continual process that continues through life. So why do we use the word constructivist here? The reason that we've used the word constructivist is because here, according to Piaget, we are not doing anything. It's basically the child who actively is constructing these schemas in his or her own mind. So all these schemas that are present have been built by the child himself naturally. The child is observing, the child is receiving, and most importantly, child has a cognitive level. And according to that cognitive level, the child is developing schemas in the mind. Now here, since I use two words, the child is constructing these schemas. Schemas are concepts. So the child is basically constructing knowledge. So that is how learning or development is taking place. So this mind, this schema structure in the mind is growing with time, is growing with experiences, with learning, and most importantly, as the cognitive level of the child grows. The cognitive level of the child grows as the child grows in age. The cognitive level of the child at class 1 is not going to be the same at class 12. There is a difference. So the schemas at class 1 are different, are of much lower order in comparison to the schemas that the child will gain, will develop, and will have at class 12. Also, there is a limit. We can give new schemas at class 1, and a limit to what new schemas we will be introducing the child to when the child is in class 12. So both assimilation and accommodation are happening. The child is constructing this knowledge, these schemas, so that is why we use the word constructivist, and the child is doing that on the basis, depending on the level, at the cognitive level at which the child is. And that is why Piaget's theory is a constructivist theory, and it is a cognitive theory, because it strongly believes that as the child grows from the infancy to the adult period in his lifetime or her lifetime, the child is building schemas accordingly. So this is an active process. This construction of knowledge is an active process. You can see there's a wall. So basically the child is constructing this wall of schemas continually from the very basic, the very first stage of development, which is infancy, to adulthood. That doesn't mean that at adulthood this process stops. It's a lifetime process. It goes on happening. But yes, cognitively, when a student is at class 1, this is just an example I've just tried to explain through this example. At class 1, the child does not have the concept of addition. The child is introduced with this concept of addition in the later class 1 when the child is in class 1. But the class 4 student already has this schema of addition and is using these addition processes in mathematics at various places. So whenever there is a problem which uses addition, which is given to a class 4 student, cognitively the child already has that, is already at that level when that schema of addition is there, because that schema of addition was developed during the time when the child was in class 1. So now if we give any problem of addition, the child just has to match. Matching, as we know, is assimilation. The previous video we had learned that assimilation is matching a new requirement, a new ability, a new task with the existing schemas. The child has already learned addition, already has the schemas of addition at class 1. So at class 4 or class 3 or at a higher stage, whenever there is a problem that involves addition, the child will immediately match that addition schema or will assimilate that addition schema with that problem and solve that problem. But now if the child is given something new which has something to do with manipulation of something complex, something more difficult, then that concept will be introduced to the child only when the child reaches that level cognitively. So anything which is more complex than addition, a lot complex than addition, will not be introduced at class 1. New schemas will have to be given accordingly when the child is prepared for it, mentally, cognitively prepared for it. So that is what Piaget says, that the child is constructing knowledge, the child is making step by step, brick by brick, schema by schema, constructing this whole wall of concepts or wall of schemas. But this process is also happening in accordance with what level the child is at. So the schemas that already have been built at a certain stage, they can be used to assimilate, match and perform tasks. As the child grows from 1 to 4, the existing new schemas can be added to those existing schemas. This is called accommodation. Once the child has assimilated and accommodated those schemas, new schemas can be given to the same child as the child progresses to higher classes. But then care has to be taken that the mental abilities, the growth of the age of the child has to be taken care of. So this is how Piaget explains the process of constructing knowledge. So two words that are very important here is that learner is an active learner. It's not that we are giving all information to the child and the child is just swallowing it and that's how development and learning is taking place. No, the child is learning, constructing schemas through various sources, but in accordance to the mental ability, which Piaget has defined in stages. What are those stages? I'll be taking this up in the next video.